Hello, my friends, hello, and welcome once again to Stately Vaughan Manor, where today it's another thrill packed episode of my 100 Favorite Books project. My 100 Favorite Books project. I made a video of my 100 favorite books. I'll link it down below, like I always do in these videos. And what I'm doing with this project is I'm trying to get a very nice edition of every book on my 100 favorite books list. I'm trying to get the nicest edition I can get my grubby paws on for each book. Sometimes, there aren't that many great editions available, and you just kind of have to take the best that you can get. But with this particular book that I'm talking about today, there were a lot of choices. I'm talking about Dune by Frank Herbert. Frank Herbert's 1965 masterpiece, Dune, a science fiction masterpiece. Many consider Dune to be the greatest science fiction novel ever written. Now, whether it is or not, I don't know. But it's a great book, I can tell you that. An absolutely wonderful book, Dune. It could be the greatest science fiction novel of all time. I don't know, but it could be. It's that good. It's understandable why a lot of people think that it is. Really great book. A really subtle book in some ways. It establishes a bunch of tropes that it kind of subverts in a very subtle way. For some people, too subtle, but it's well done. It's a really well done book. And its influence is huge. I mean, it's influenced so much, Dune has, in science fiction and in fantasy. The way it's written, if you're a fan of fantasy, you'll probably like Dune. It's influenced both fantasy and science fiction, although it is a science fiction novel, which tells the story of Paul Atreides, of the House Atreides. The House Atreides are going to Arrakis to take control of Arrakis. Arrakis, the only planet in the galaxy where the spice is produced. The spice which is necessary for space travel, because in the distant future, they got rid of all the computers because, the artificial intelligence, it's always trying to take over everything, the way artificial intelligence always does. So they got rid of all the computers, but they need the spice to kind of turn people into living computers. It gives them extra powers, extra mental powers, the spice does. This is a very simple Simon way of explaining this book. There's a lot going on in this book, in Dune. A lot of wonderful characters. The plot rolls right along. It's tremendous world building. It is just a fantastic book, Dune. And it's very popular at the moment because they just made some gigantical movie of Dune. Some huge film, which many people thought was pretty good. And Steve Donahue thought was terrible. Whether it's good or terrible, I don't know, because they only made half the book. And I'm not going to go watch half of Dune. I'm going to wait till they finish it. Once they make the rest of Dune, then I'll watch the movie. Not before. I'm not going to get shortchanged by watching half of Dune. No way. You got to finish it. So once it's done, then I'll watch it. But until then, I don't know if it's any good or not. I can only talk about the book, which is magnificent. Now, the book, there are a lot of choices for Dune because they've made some really nice additions. Probably the nicest edition in existence is from the Folio Society. Of course, it's from the Folio Society. From what I've seen of that book, and I've only seen it online, I've never seen it in actual existence, it's beautiful. And I was sorely tempted to get that. But for some reason, I had it in my mind that I wanted to get a different one, which I'll talk about. But there's also a few others floating around. Dune is so popular that they have a few nice editions of this book. Even the, what was it called? The deluxe edition, I think they call it. There was a deluxe edition that they came out with of Dune that's really pretty, with really nice artwork, and dyed end papers and everything, and it from what I've seen of that, it's really, really nice that you can get for like $35 or somewhere around there. It's not expensive, but it's just a regular hardcover, just a really, really pretty one. So, you know, that's probably good enough for most normal human beings. But not me, man. I had my mind set on a particular edition, and I'm not even sure why exactly I went with this one over the folio, because it's not as pretty, but very, very, very well made. I went for the Easton Press edition of Dune. Easton Press, which makes fancy pants editions of books. If they have an edition of a book, it's probably a really good edition to get. So I got this one. It's really, really nice. Hubbed spine, of course. It's got the beautiful end papers, like the Easton Press always does. This is the opening title page, of course, from the Easton Press. Not an illustrated edition, unfortunately, but it's just beautifully bound and beautifully constructed. This thing will outlast me, certainly, which is one of the things I'm looking for. I want all my books to exist in nice condition when I'm dead. You know, so I could pass it on to David Wiley. You know, when I die, David Wiley is going to have like a whole truckload of books just dumped on his lawn. And this is going to be one of them. Sorry, David, in advance, but yeah, that's what's going to happen. So anyway, where was I? Oh, yes, this book. Dune, from the Easton Press. Now, the Easton Press makes really, really, really nice books. Basically, what they do is they'll take a book and they will just bind it beautifully. They tend to make a duplicate of a previous edition. Like all their classic editions, a lot of those are reprints of the Heritage Press editions, which they bought. Like a lot of their classics, like The Three Musketeers and Dracula and a bunch of others. I believe that they are all reprints of the Heritage Press editions. And other books like this one are just duplicates of previous editions. This is a duplicate of the previous hardcover edition, which they printed really, really well. But you could see it's just a duplicate of the original hardcover. Bound magnificently. So this sucker, like I said, it's just so pretty. Bunch of creepy people hanging out on Arrakis, I guess. Just hanging out on Arrakis. And it's just really, really nice. And this is what I wanted for this book. I'm not sure why, like I said, that I decided to go for this over the folio, because there's no logical reason. The folio is prettier. There's something just sturdy about this that I just wanted. And there's certain books like this that I just want like this. So I got this like this, because Dune is special. Dune is special to me. It's just such a magnificent book. And it should just look magnificent on the shelf, you know. So yeah, Dune. And of course, I highly recommend this book, of course, if you haven't read it. It's available in every way you can get a book, ebook, paperback. Every way you want this book, it exists because it's that popular. Deservedly so. Dune by Frank Herbert. That's all I have to say about this book at this particular time. Thank you for joining me here once again at Stately Vaughan Manor. Catch me tomorrow. I have no idea what I'm doing tomorrow. I should really think about that. Yeah, I'll think about that, and then I'll catch you then. Okay, guys, I will see you next time.